Welcome back to the Astrology University lecture series. Today's lecture, Medical Astrology, the science the ancients called iatromathematics, the mathematics of healing. For 2,000 years, physicians did not simply examine the body, they read the sky. The zodiac was a map of the human frame. The planets were physicians of the provinces of the body. The moon governed the rhythms of health and crisis. And when a patient fell ill, the astrologer-physician cast a chart to diagnose the disease and choose the hour of healing. Tonight we will explore that extraordinary system, Melathesia, the humors, the decumpature chart, critical days, and the lunar medicine that governed the medieval clinic. Let us begin. Our journey starts with Melathesia, the doctrine of the zodiac body. In this ancient and enduring system, each of the 12 signs rules a part of the human frame, so that the body itself is a living zodiac. Aries rules the head, Taurus rules the neck and throat, Gemini rules the arms, the hands, and the lungs, Cancer rules the chest and the breast, Leo rules the heart and the back, Virgo rules the belly and the intestines, Libra rules the kidneys and the loins, Scorpio rules the generative organs, Sagittarius rules the hips and the thighs, Capricorn rules the knees, Aquarius rules the ankles and the shins, and Pisces rules the feet. From crown to sole, the human body was mapped onto the wheel of the zodiac, and a physician who knew the map could read the body's ailments in the stars. But the signs were only half the map. The planets, too, had their provinces. Saturn ruled the spleen, the bones, and the teeth, cold, dry, and heavy. Jupiter ruled the liver, the blood, and the thighs, warm, expansive, generative. Mars ruled the bile, the gall, and the fevers, hot, sharp, inflammatory. Venus ruled the kidneys, the throat, and the generative organs, soft, moist, and pleasurable. Mercury ruled the brain, the nerves, and the breath of speech, quick, subtle, adaptable. The sun ruled the heart itself, the seat of life and spirit. And the moon, the most practical planet of all, ruled the stomach, the fluids, and all the body's waters. Each planet was a physician of a province, and each disease a planet speaking too loudly. Beneath the planets and the signs lay the engine of it all, humoral theory. From Hippocrates and Galen, the medieval physician inherited a medicine of 4 humors, the vital fluids whose balance was health and whose imbalance was disease. Blood, warm and moist, the humor of the sanguine temperament, sociable, hopeful, passionate. Yellow bile, hot and dry, the humor of the choleric, ambitious, energetic, quick to anger. Black bile, cold and dry, the melancholy, thoughtful, refined, prone to sorrow. And phlegm, cold and moist, the phlegmatic, calm, steady, slow to stir. Every body was a blend of the 4, every temperament a proportion, every illness a disturbance of the balance. And the heavens, in their turn, ruled the humors, Jupiter and Venus warm and moist, Mars hot and dry, Saturn cold and dry, the moon and Venus cold and moist. The sky and the body spoke the same language, the language of the 4 elements. And now, the diagnostic art itself, the decumpature chart. When a patient fell ill and took to bed, the moment of decumpature, the astrologer-physician cast a chart for that exact instant. This was the illness's own birth chart, and in it the physician read the whole story of the disease. The first house signified the patient and the body. The 6th house signified the illness itself, its nature, and its seat. The 8th house signified the danger of death. The lord of the 6th house, its aspects, and its reception showed the disease's character and strength. And the moon, always the moon, revealed the course of the malady, its rises and falls, its turning points, its end. Before the first lancet was drawn or the first herb brewed, the physician consulted the sky of the sickbed. Diagnosis was divination, and divination was diagnosis. Once the chart was cast, healing followed the moon. The medieval physician believed the course of an illness unfolded in critical days, the days of crisis when a disease turned decisively, for better or for worse. These critical days were computed from the moon's motion, most importantly the 3rd, the 7th, and the 14th days, the moon's square, opposition, and square again to its place in the decumpature chart. On a critical day, the disease would culminate, the fever would break, the crisis would pass, the patient would live or die. Physicians watched these days with the intensity of generals awaiting battle, for the critical day was the day of judgment, and the moon was its clock. But the tradition did not begin in the Middle Ages. It was born in Greece, in the sacred marriage of medicine and astrology. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, urged the physician to consider the stars, for the body, he taught, was ruled by the heavens, and no healer could ignore the sky. Galen, the greatest physician of antiquity, systematized humoral medicine into a framework that would govern practice for a millennium and a half. And in Hellenistic Alexandria, the two arts fused completely. The physician learned the chart as he learned the pulse, and the astrologer learned the humors as he learned the houses. The result was a single science of the body in the cosmos, and it is from that Greek synthesis that all later medical astrology descends. When the Greek tradition was lost in the Latin West, it was preserved and perfected in the Islamic world. In Baghdad and Cairo, in Cordoba and Damascus, physicians like Rhazes and Avicenna integrated astrology into a sophisticated medical practice. The great hospitals of the Islamic world employed astrologer physicians who cast charts at the bedside, timed treatments to the heavens, and wrote vast encyclopedias of astrological medicine. The Persian astrologers Mashallah and his school refined the decumbiture tradition into a precise technique. And in the 12th century, when the Arabic texts flowed into Europe through the translations of Toledo, the Latin West received not only astrology, but astrological medicine, complete and ready to practice. In the Renaissance, the art flowered as never before. Astrology was part of the medical curriculum at the great universities, Padua, Bologna, Montpellier, and the physician's diploma presumed a working knowledge of the sky. Marsilio Ficino, the great Florentine philosopher-physician, wrote De Vita, on life, a manual of celestial medicine that prescribed astrological remedies for body and soul. Physicians elected the hour for surgery, avoided the moon in the sign of the organ, and prescribed by planetary sympathy. The Renaissance clinic was a celestial theater, the physician as astronomer, the patient as microcosm, and the heavens as the great pharmacy of the world. And what a pharmacy it was! Every plant belonged to a planet, and the remedy was chosen by sympathy between herb, disease, and patient. The sun's herbs were warm and strengthening, chamomile, rosemary, marigold. The moon's herbs were cool and moist, lettuce, cucumber, the white flowers of the night. Mars governed the hot and pungent, nettles, garlic, mustard. Venus ruled the soft and fragrant, rose, violet, myrtle. Jupiter gave the generous and comforting, saffron, sage, fig. Saturn supplied the cold and binding, hemlock, ivy, the roots of the earth. And Mercury lent the subtle and changeable, dill, fennel, parsley. The physician's apothecary was a garden of planetary virtues, and the correct remedy was the one whose planet harmonized with the disease and the patient's constitution. At the center of it all stood the moon, the most practical planet in medical astrology. The moon governed the fluids, digestion, menstruation, and all the body's waters. It waxed and waned with the tides, and the body, being mostly water, rose and fell with it. The medieval physician timed every treatment by the lunar phase. The waxing moon was the time for building and nourishing, tonics, restoratives, strengthening regimens. The waning moon was the time for reducing and cleansing, purging, bleeding, and the expulsion of excess. And surgery was scheduled with exquisite care. The moon was kept out of the sign ruling the organ to be cut, lest the wound refuse to heal. The moon was the clock of the clinic, and the physician who ignored it, the medievals believed, healed at his peril. No procedure was more governed by the stars than bloodletting, the most common intervention in medieval medicine. Phlebotomy was performed in the waning moon, when the body's fluids were said to be at their lowest ebb, and always in a sign favorable to the operation. The moon had to avoid the sign ruling the part of the body being bled. No venesection of the head when the moon was in Aries, no bleeding of the chest in Cancer, no opening of the legs' veins in Capricorn. The medieval almanac printed bloodletting calendars for the entire year, a sort of medieval health app, telling every reader on which days the stars permitted the lancet. The physician consulted the sky as carefully as he consulted the pulse, and the two together told him when to cut and when to refrain. And then, slowly, the art faded. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Vesalius mapped the body by dissection, Harvey discovered the circulation of the blood, and the new anatomy began to replace the zodiac body with the body of flesh and bone. By the 19th century, germ theory and scientific medicine had swept humoralism into history. The astrologer-physician became a figure of the past. And yet, the tradition did not vanish without trace. Modern chronobiology studies the body's rhythms, including lunar cycles of sleep and mood. Seasonal medicine tracks the rise and fall of disease through the year. And the idea that health is harmony, that the body is not a machine but a system in balance with its world, is the old astrological medicine's most enduring gift to the new. For at the heart of medical astrology lay a profound philosophy, the doctrine of the microcosm. The human being, the ancients taught, is a small universe, a cosmos in miniature. As above, so below, the sky is written in the body, and the body in the sky. Health was harmony, the alignment of the little universe with the great. Disease was discord, a note out of tune, a planet out of balance. And the physician's task was not merely to fight a symptom, but to retune the whole, to restore the patient, body and soul, to their proper place in the order of the heavens. The astrologer-physician did not treat a disease. He treated a person in a sky, at a moment, in a life. And that, perhaps, is the deepest lesson the tradition offers us. And so we close. From the temples of Hippocrates to the anatomy theaters of Padua, from the hospitals of Baghdad to the courts of Renaissance Florence, medical astrology shaped the healing arts for 2,000 years. Its map of the body survives in our imagination. Its humors echo in our language of temperament. Its moon still rises over our rhythms. And its deepest idea, that the body is a living map of the cosmos, and that healing is harmony, remains one of the most beautiful thoughts humanity has ever had. Thank you for attending this lecture and this series. The stars have been our teachers. May they continue to guide your healing, your wonder, and your way.